All right, all praise unto Yahweh, Hashem Shai. Double honor to the apostles of GMS. Honor to brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Okay, so we got another step here. All right, leading towards the chip. Okay, which is good news. It should be good news for you brothers out there. You know, these are the prophecies coming to pass right here, man. Okay, and you know what? With that statement being made, let's go to this scripture right quick, because I like this scripture. This is in the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, the 3rd verse, because he goes into these guys talking about, you know, where the chip at. It's not the RFID chip. It's not this, that, and third, whatever. But the fact of the matter is this, okay? If you're hastening the day and you're watching the geopolitical situations that are being played out there, okay, and over time you get to a keen understanding, some people more than others, okay, as in the apostles or elders of GMS, hey, certain guys, you know, I'm not going to name their names, they're very, you know, they're very clued up, okay, and that's supposed to spark up and rouse your spirit to get clued up about what's happening around you, man. Scripture talks about being circumspect. You gotta look around you to see what's going on, okay? So this thing, the day of the Lord ain't gonna come and catch you off guard, man. Okay? So this scripture says here in the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, 3rd verse, knowing this first, they shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, okay? Saying, where is the promise of his coming? Now we who are not of the night, but of the day, okay? We're not deceived by these things, man. We know what this is all about. This is all going towards the RFID chip being implemented on a mass scale, okay? And you gotta notice the tools that's being used, the use of the terror threat, okay? All right, so they're gonna use this. They're gonna use the terroristic boogeyman, if you will, all right, as the means of pushing this forward. Now we're talking about the smart borders, but see, on a larger scale, it might be a thing of an earthquake. There's no food and so on and so forth. They're gonna ration. They're gonna know who's got what. Here's the chip. Okay, it could be a false flag terror attack. They can say this, that, and the third happened. Okay, boom. Now you got it to where you gotta have that chip within you, so you can what? So they can monitor what's going on out there, okay? And they're using these things as a platform for what? Like I said, pushing forth that chip. But you got some guys out here that are like, okay, no, where's the prophecies coming to pass? Where are all of these things coming to pass? And the answer of that is simple, that they're walking after their own lusts, man. That's why you got guys out there talking about, you know, your bums, this, that, and the third, because that's a lust of the world, man. Okay? To quote what someone's wearing and so on and so forth as a means of them, or rather more as a counter statement to that person bringing out some information that's pertaining to the scriptures, is going off, man. That's a thing of the world, man. Okay, that's a lust of the flesh. Okay, but we don't lust of the flesh, we lust of the things of the spirit, and the things of the spirit dictate that what, as pursuant to the book of Revelations, the 13th chapter and the 16th verse, that the Most High is going to bring forth as one of the final prophecies out here. Is going to bring forth for RFID chip that Esau is going to implement on a large scale basis, man. Okay, and the way he's doing it, all right, is through these means. Okay, so it starts off. It says smart borders. Okay, EU Parliament unveils electronic cards to deter terrorists. Now, what I found very interesting is when you go into the into the images. Okay, now this one you see a person, they got a card and so on and so forth. And this one you see a passport. But when you look at the symbol here, okay, when you look at this symbol, I might be wrong, but that looks just like a hand right there. Okay, that looks like a hand. Now, it might have a card associated with that imagery, but you can certainly see that's just a hand right there for you to do what? For you to just scan your hand. Because why? Because ultimately this thing goes into them implementing that chip into your hand, okay? And that's going to be your means of accessing your finances, accessing your all the data that's associated to you in terms of yourself as an individual, man. Okay, so we move on to this. It says, the European Parliament Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs has approved the introduction of an upgraded system of document checks for citizens of countries outside the Schengen area, okay, who enter or leave according to the RIA novelty, okay? So if we track back 4 years ago, okay, this idea really goes back into migration and home affairs, all right, and we're dealing with the European Commission over here. So it says smart borders. The smart borders package was proposed by the Commission in the February 2013, and it follows okay, the European Commission communication of February the 2008 suggesting the establishment of entry-exit systems and registered traveler programs. Okay, so if you check on most people's passports these days, they got an RFID tag, as you've seen in the imagery, as a means of accessing their so-called identification, all right, for you to travel to and fro. Okay, but see, now you got a thing of now, okay, we got a leverage, we got a means of leveraging the people into getting this system out there. Okay, and we're gonna use this thing of a terror, which all of it is, we know this, all of this is falsified. There's all of this information that they bringing about, these different terror groups out there. We all know that ultimately that goes back onto who? That goes back onto America, who created these different terror groups. Okay, so it says Monday saw a go-ahead by the European Parliament on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs to introduce a modernized system of document checks with respect to citizens of countries outside the Schengen area who enter or leave RIA Novosti report. Okay, the new system stipulates creating so-called smart borders. Okay, and that's a key word right there, because when we look at this when you look at the smart technology out there, okay, the so-called smart technology out there, okay, you can definitely see that there's an agenda, all right, to make everything quote unquote smart. Okay, so basically having everything on a system of the web. Now, don't get it twisted. Okay, they're gonna shut down what you know as the modern day internet. Okay, now obviously if you're taking away the internet, you're gonna have to replace that by something else. Okay, and that's the thing of them controlling everything that you're gonna be using, rationing what you've got. Okay, and that's the new world order that they're gonna set up. Okay, that's why they got this thing of smart technologies. Okay, your TV hooked up to the internet, your washing machine hooked up to the internet, whatever. Okay. All right, and I remember me and the brother were getting into it, and he was wising me up on certain informations, man. Okay, and that's it right there. Okay, so you got the whole smart environment where everything's online and uploaded, but it's not going to be the internet that you're used to right now, where you can access everything they're starting to throw whenever you want to have it. Okay, it's going to be a thing of, this is what you're going to have today. You've had enough. Okay, that's it. Okay, and this is a means of furthering that agenda, because what? Because they're saying, look, we don't want this terror group, this terror person here, this terrorist here. Okay, because why? Because we identify this person as a terrorist because his electronic card, or ultimately his chip in his hand, okay, has got threats associated to it, man. Okay, and that all goes back onto the scriptures where it talks about in the book of 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter, how that a man's going to decide to go into a sin. Now, ultimately, that's the martial law. Okay, but even further in the elite's agenda, which they're not going to be able to fulfill, as pursuant to the book of Job, the 20th chapter. Okay, all right, as pursuant to the elite's agenda, okay, they're actually going to say, okay, this person, you can go this far. Okay, you can't go that far now. Okay, you can't go further than that point, or if you get what I'm trying to say. Okay, in other words, your every movement is going to be able to be quantified, documented, okay, and predicted, man. Okay, and you see that on movies like what's this good movie that they did with my man Christian Bale. Okay, that was a good movie, and I quoted it in my last video, Equilibrium. Okay, it says the new system stipulates creating so-called smart borders before the end of 2018. Okay, all right. Hey, the scriptures talk about hastening the days coming. So look, Esau's trying to haste his thing coming. And this all goes back onto a thing of us pushing this truth. When we're going back onto the year of the push, and brothers, certain geezers were even doing that. Okay, and those were people amongst GMS, man. Okay, certain geezers, they weren't putting up their two videos is easy when you're hearing about a terror plot over there that Esau's done did. Okay, when you're hearing about rumors of war over there that's been played out. Earthquakes over, and that's all that might be just in one day, man. That's like 3-4 different different articles that you can get into. That's 3-4 videos you can get into, man. Okay, so there ain't no really excuse. And Elder Apostle Tahar done said it just a couple of, was it yesterday or something like that? Okay, on the video. Okay, he said pretty much, look, if you ain't even got the information like an article you want to get into, just get into the scriptures, break down the scriptures, man. There's so many topics out there within the scriptures that people don't understand, and this is the time when the Most High is having it to where the elect's gonna wake up. So the elect's gonna be seeing it's like, no, that don't sit right with me. Okay, let's see what YouTube says about it. And someone's gonna punch it out into Google or YouTube, and then boom, all right, the men of the Lord's got their voices out there, and they're gonna see that,
And just like how it says in the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, they're going to get that mark within, man. Because why? Because they're sighing and crying for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, man. That's why we're pushing hard. Okay, so the elect of which starting with the apostle Elder Tahar has said, okay, he believes the elected is already sealed, man. Okay, it's a thing of pushing this word, and you can see the countermeasure of pushing this word is Esau starting to haste up in his game, man. Okay, going back in the day, he would have said, okay, we'll try to implement it out there in 2025 or something like that. We're talking about a couple of months. He's going to try to implement this. Okay. So he says, obviously he says at the end of 2018, lest they be a scoffer. Okay, so he says, which are expected to help EU identify illegal immigrants, right, suspected terrorists, and members of organized crime groups. Okay, now these are generic terms, okay, of a means of control, man. Anybody can fall down underneath this banner. Okay, anybody can fall down. Hey, you go out there and you want to protest your pension or something like that. Well, guess what? Now you're a suspected terrorist. You can only move so far. Okay, or you're out there and it so happens to be a right. Guess what? You're suspected of being in an organized crime group, man. Okay, right? You want to travel to a certain place. You weren't born there. Guess what? You're potentially an illegal immigrant. Okay, these are all means of control, but it starts off with this. All right, they give you that boogeyman. Now they could have easily said, okay, suspected. They could have easily said as a means of controlling illegal immigrants. Okay, which really that's not really biblical. But guess what? That's a thing of Esau within Esau society, man. You can't move from one place to another place because saying, look, we don't want all of you. We don't want all of you. Ultimately, it goes down to a thing of Jake, man. We don't want you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans within there, man. All right, so they might have a prospering city out there within Europe or something like that. Well, guess what? You're an illegal immigrant. You gotta get out here. Okay, you got the Mexicans out there trying to get into the U.S. so they can get some more prosperity. Guess what? You can't go in there. Okay, they got a means of controlling your movements, and now they want to take it to a step further to where you got a chip implanted within you. Okay, now even getting on the bus. Okay, you're gonna be that's gonna be controlled. Okay, getting on the train, that's gonna be controlled. Okay, that's gonna be controlled, monitored, and quantified, man. Okay, so it says here, unveiled by the European Commission back in 2013, as we've just seen here, in this one right here. All right, the Smart Borders projects initially envisions the implementation of a registered travelers program and improvement of entry-exit systems. Okay, the Registered Travelers Program stipulates that non-EU citizens who visit the bloc often 90 days or in periods of 180-day periods should get an electronic card which contain pertinent information. Like I said, it starts off with a card, but we know this thing of this technology, they are amalgamating it. So I said, okay, technological advancement. You don't need your card anymore. Use your phone. Oh, technological advancement. You don't need your phone anymore. We'll just give you the chip inside your hand. Okay? And the people going to fall for that because why? Because it's all to do with that thing of smart technologies, man. Okay? And you've seen the image already. Now, like I said, there might be a card associated with this image, but you can see that clearly that's a hand right there. Okay? That's a hand. There's a card underneath this person's hand. Okay? But when you're talking about, there we go. You can even see it there. Okay, so they're holding the so-called card there or whatever in that symbology. But ultimately, you can see that the symbology is very pertinent. Okay, if you compare it to let's say Oyster, okay, which is the travel system that they got within Britain. If I put Oyster machine, okay. All right, so dealing with this one, see, you just got a card there, okay. But when we go back to this one, okay, you can see that the symbol that they've used is what is putting your hand on there, okay. Now, like I said, you could argue, okay, they're saying put your card, which is in your hand over there, but we know where all this is leading to, okay. It's just Esau works in steps, man. Okay, and you're gonna be aware of Esau's step. That's what the scripture talks about, being circumspect. Okay, so let me just read this last paragraph here, and then I'll call it quits. You can check out the rest for yourself. It says entry-exit programs is in turn stipulates that the entry-exit program is in turn stipulates that when entering the EU, non-EU nationals will scan their international passports rather than their electronic cards with a chip. Okay, it says currently the passports of foreigners entering and leaving the Schengen area are stamped. All right, when these foreigners come across the borders, reports about stamps being repeatedly counterfeited are not uncommon. Okay, so you know, pretty much you get the gist of what's going on out there. They're going to use that as a means. They always use these things like a terror group or 9/11 or whatever to push forth their agenda. Okay, order through chaos. So pretty much with that, hopefully that was of edification. Okay, I'm gonna say double honors to the apostles of GMS, honestly brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom to you, brethren. Shalom.